first thing I want you to write on your Quizzette is your last name, comma, first name. So go ahead and make sure that you write your last name, comma, first name. Today's date is the 18th. So please make sure that you write 09/18/17. Go ahead and circle your class color. Today I'll be purple. All right, so on Monday, number 1, it says, in a bouquet of flowers, there are 7 daisies and 17 roses. Write the ratio of daisies to roses in 3 different ways. So daisies, how many daisies do you have? You have 7 daisies. And how many roses? 17. So the way you write a ratio is 7 to 14 using that semicolon. Or you can say 7 to 17. Or you can say 7 over 17. So those are the 3 different ways. And the SMP that you're using here, it could be persevere through problem solving. It could be attend to precision, SMP 6. It could be look for and make use of structure, which is SMP 7. Or SMP 8 because it's repeated reasoning. You are reasoning 3 different ways how to show a ratio. So go ahead and write the number and the quotes of the SMP on the bottom. Another thing that I want you guys to keep in mind when you're writing these ratios is you have to pay attention to the order that it's asking you in. I can already tell you that on Wednesday number 1, it's going to ask you write the ratio of daisies to roses. So it's not always, this is what I want to explain, it's not always the number that's given to you first. Because here naturally you would probably want to do something like roses to daisies, right? Because roses is written first. However, the question says write the ratio of daisies to roses. So then you would write 32 first, and then you would write 15. I don't want to get too ahead, but I just want you to make sure that you are reading the questions carefully because this Quizzette is very tricky. All right, moving on. Number 2, it says, which ratio is equivalent? Equivalent. Another word for equivalent is equal. If you pay attention to the first 3 letters, it's eq or equal. It's the first 3 letters that you would write in the word equal. So pay attention to that. So equivalent just means equal. So which ratio is equal to 4/7 with greater terms? So 4/7, it can't be reduced anymore. But you can multiply numbers to it. So let's just multiply it by let's say 2 over 2. That's just one whole. So 4 times 2 is 8. 7 times 2 is 14. Do you have a fraction here that has 8 over 14? No. So we're just going to check to see if our fractions, once we reduce them, if they're equivalent to 4/7. So let's look. 7 over 10. 7 over 10 can't be reduced anymore. So the one that I'm looking at is right here, guys. I'm looking at 7 over 10. I can't reduce that anymore. So 7 over 10 is not equal to 4/7. It's not equivalent in greater terms. So that cannot be one of my answers. So I'm just going to cross it out. Now let's look at B. 21 over 12. If I reduce 21 over 12, I want to check to see if it equals 4/7. So let me reduce that. So I have 21 over 12. What number goes into both of those? 3. So I'm going to divide both by 3. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 3 goes into 12 4 times. Is 7/4 equivalent to 4/7? No, it's not. So it can't be that one either. Now let's look at C. 12 and 21. I would say that a common factor is 3. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. Is 4/7 equivalent to 4/7? Yes, it is. Now we have to check D. 7 over 4. Is 7 over 4 equal to 4 over 7? No, it is not. So the only correct answer is C. Now I also want to show you Tuesday number 2. It says which ratio is not equivalent to 10 over 25. If you notice, this ratio is not given to you in a fraction. So you have to make it into a fraction. Your first number is the numerator of the fraction, and your second number is the denominator of the fraction. So the very first step here would be to write your ratio as a fraction. And the same for all of these. And then you can solve it the same way I solved number 2 on Monday. So then you reduce them and you see which one is equivalent, or in this case, not equivalent to 10 over 25. So pay attention to the questions. I want you to guys annotate a lot and highlight this week, because I made this Quizzette to be difficult for you so that you would be challenged in a good way and you would learn this unit a lot faster. Let's move on to number 3 on Monday. It says a jug of juice has 6 cups of pineapple juice. So as I'm reading, I want you annotating. A jug of juice has 6 cups of pineapple juice and 5 cups of orange juice. Write the ratio, that's a vocabulary word, of the number, it should say of the number of cups of pineapple juice to the total number of cups of juice in 3 different ways. So this question, it originally, when I read it, it already tricked me. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't attending to precision. So we have, write the ratio of number of cups of pineapple. How many cups of pineapple do you have? Or pineapple juice? 6. You have 6 cups of pineapple juice. To the total number of cups of juice. Total number. So you have 6 cups of pineapple juice and 5 cups of orange juice. So what's 6 plus 5? 11. So that's 6 to 11. Now I want it in 3 different ways. 6 to 11, 6 to 11, and 6 over 11. Pretty simple. Pay attention to the questioning. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything on this Quizzette. So number 3 is going to look similar on all of the days, but it's different. So that's why I keep telling you and I keep stressing, pay attention to what the question's asking. I don't want anyone raising their hand and saying, number 3 is the same for Monday and Wednesday, when they're not. Pay attention to the question. It also says, you'll also see things on this Quizzette that say, write the fraction in simplest form. That just means reduced form, or simplified. Or simplified. Please write neater than me. Obviously, my writing is really sloppy when it comes to this iPad and this pen. All right, let's move on to the next part of our quiz. So again, you would fill out your Quizzette reflection at the very end of the week. In simplest form just means reduced or simplified. Make sure that you're annotating, circling key words. You have to make these into a fraction, reduce them, and see if it's equivalent. So for number 2 on Thursday, it's if it's equivalent. And this one is if it's not equivalent. Pay attention. All right, guys, have a good week.